Games have a cunning way of keeping our attention by bribing us with treats if we work hard and keep focused. What works for parents of 2-year-olds works for game designers too. That dastardly strategy only works if you give us the treats within a reasonable time frame though, and the super powerful items that these 7 games gave us way too late to be useful are evidence of that fact. Prepare yourself for these 7 rewards that arrived much too late for us to need or properly enjoy them, and beware spoilers for the following games.
Legendary Nintendo producer Eiji Aonuma is famous for putting his real-life hobbies into the games he's working on. Apparently, it was his love for riding his motorbike in real life that led him to, we imagine, start whispering, "The bike, the bike," to Breath of the Wild game director Hidemaro Fujibashi, who happened to sit at the desk opposite him, we imagine. Presumably out of genuine fear for his own safety, Fujibashi caved and added the Master Cycle Zero to Breath of the Wild's final DLC drop, Champion's Ballad, real life spilling into game design. So it's a good job I wasn't a producer on Breath of the Wild, or else Link would spend all his time riding around on dinosaurs. Hang on, that sounds amazing! Why aren't I a producer on Breath of the Wild? Apparently the reason it took Nintendo until the very last content drop to add a great big motorbike is because they were worried it might break the game and make traversing the world a bit too easy. Which probably seemed a valid concern at the time, because at that point they hadn't seen me riding it. The compromise then was to add the bike as the final reward in the final DLC, which needless to say is the point in the game where you've done absolutely everything there is to do already and have nowhere to go on your flash new bike. Still, thank goodness they didn't break the game by giving it to us earlier and depriving us of all those 45-minute walks through rainy grass. Close call.
Those clamps have the armor locked in place. Maybe there's a way to power up the mechanism, release the clamps.
Half the fun of exploring open worlds like Horizon Zero Dawn is the idea that around the next corner you might acquire something absolutely mind-blowing that'll completely change your game. Or it might just be a bunch of junk, again.
Got too much already.
Oh, you shouldn't have Horizon. By which I mean, I genuinely wish you hadn't. Yes, almost everything you find in Horizon Zero Dawn is nothing more than bits and bobs you need to make other things. Except it turns out there actually is an item hidden away that actually does feel like finding your birthday and Christmas presents all at once, as well as the gifts for a third entirely new holiday they just invented that year. This item is the Shield Weaver Armour, a slick-looking outfit with a rechargeable shield which makes you nearly invulnerable to every kind of robot attack. It's basically a wearable cheat code, and to get it you just need to, unlock most of the world map by nearly completing the main quest line, then find 5 power cells from obscure locations and use them to unlock the armour in a concealed bunker.
There we go, the last one.
And then the armour is yours, with almost all of the game in your rearview mirrors. Which, you know, great, but where were you 40 hours ago when I was crying into my hands because of that bloody Thunderjaw?
Do you know why they always say aim for the head in zombie movies and in games like Resident Evil? It's because the people saying that assume you don't have a rocket launcher with infinite ammo. Otherwise it would be pretty redundant advice, wouldn't it? No, with an infinite rocket launcher in hand, you're much too OP to concern yourself with such petty trifles as sharpshooting the head of one of the undead. As would Jill be if you had limitless propelled explosives to send at the zombies in Capcom's 2002 Resident Evil remake. Once you have it, suddenly what was a tense survival horror game becomes equivalent in challenge to filling in a crossword where all the words are jam. The The great irony of this infinite rocket launcher is that you can only unlock it by completing the game in less than 3 hours on normal difficulty, which if you're unfamiliar with the game Resident Evil, let us tell you, is not many hours. And if you can complete the game in just 3 hours, trust us, you're already a zombie-slaying genius, rocket launcher or no. Don't give the speedrunners the infinite rocket launcher, Resident Evil. Give me the infinite rocket launcher. I need it. I suck.
The American frontier of the early 1900s was a famously lawless place. Look at this outfit John Marston's getting away with, for instance.
And I apologize for my reticence. Hope you believe me when I say that it's simply out of respect for you.
The fashion police, of course, wouldn't be established until the early 1970s. Some Red Dead Redemption outfits, however, confer useful bonuses to help you in your cowboy adventures, and none are more useful than the Bureau suit, which gives you total amnesty from the law. The denizens of Red Dead Redemption don't have much in the way of legal protection, but at least they can count on the Office of the Bureau of Investigation to maintain a bit of order. And presumably, the agents of the Bureau do that by turning up in a town, shooting people in the head at random, shooting their horses for good measure, then shooting all the bystanders who saw all the original shooting. Because when Jack Marston does exactly that while wearing a Bureau outfit, the local sheriff's department seemingly goes, "Ah, good, more classic Bureau work being done there." To be fair, there's probably very little shoplifting or fighting going on for a few days after that display. Mostly because there's no one left alive to do it. However, the Bureau uniform only unlocks when you achieve 100% completion in Red Dead Redemption, a point where you almost want the law to come after you because it would at least be exciting and you're fresh off the back of 100%ing the game, a long and extremely tedious process that requires, among other things, collecting roughly 2 bazillion herbs.
This'll do.
This is not how I imagined cowboy life. I am neither rooting nor tooting. If anything, I'm uprooting, but that doesn't count.
It's a certain type of person who'd want to play a game called Super Mario Galaxy as a character other than Mario. In an age where the word iconic has come to mean I recognise that person or I watched that on TikTok twice, Mario really is an icon, and his every utterance brings childlike joy to millions. Nearly every utterance. And here he is rollicking through the best collection of levels he's been given since his world went all 3D. And you're saying you don't want him to have that moment, are you? Because you'd rather display your allegiance to another character from within that universe?
Yes! Luigi kicks ass!
Oh, you're one of those people, are you? Well, I've got bad news for you. To play as the L-Man, you must first collect the staggering 120 stars required to unlock him, a process you'll have to undertake while playing Mario, which if you're a Luigi stan, we have to assume will be physical agony. Of course, having got all 120 stars, once you've got Luigi, there's basically nothing left to do in the game. What are you going to do with him? Just look at him? I guess this is pretty good, actually.
Gordon Freeman is a socially awkward research scientist who accidentally opens an interdimensional tear that lets in a bunch of hostile aliens and endangers the lives of every employee at the Black Mesa research facility. Unless he did it on purpose in order to avoid having to make any more small talk with his colleagues.
Ah, hello, Gordon Freeman. It's good to see you.
Awkward. So determined is Dr. Gordon Freeman to avoid his peers, he even eventually goes through a portal to the alien world where all the aliens are coming from, where there's no water cooler chit-chat, but there is a giant baby that wants to kill him. I think I've had this nightmare before? But that's not before Gordon makes his way to the Lambda Labs close to the end of the game, where the lab coats have been working on all kinds of experimental weaponry.
Were you in weapons research too?
Weaponry like the Quantum Destabilizer, basically a science-y garden hose on a backpack that turns matter into the contents of a butcher's dumpster quicker than you can say, well, anything if you're Gordon Freeman. The quantum destabilizer is quite a useful tool when you're, say, fighting for every inch of ground against teleporting aliens and squads of heavily armed marines, otherwise known as literally all you've been doing for the last 8 hours. It's less useful once you're through the portal, arriving in an abstract landscape of bounce pads and aggressive but invulnerable plants, which is where you spend the rest of the game immediately after picking up the quantum stabilizer. Still, even an abstract landscape of bounce pads and plants is preferable to another minute of painful small talk with a Barney.
Good morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
What I wouldn't give for a quantum stabilizer right now. To kill a Barney.
Gran Turismo games are a lot like Charles Dickens novels, if you squint really hard to make a tenuous metaphor work. There's antiquated and dangerous machinery everywhere, burning fossil fuel like nobody's business, and at the heart of it all, there's a rags to riches story. The rags, in this case, is the affordable Japanese hatchback that you buy at the start of Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, and the riches is the improbable garage of prototypes and race cars you've amassed 40 hours later. You know, like at the end of Oliver Twist. But there's always that one car that you notice when you're browsing the dealerships and wonder how you'd ever be able to afford. GT3's most expensive car is this Panoz Esperante GT1, and they'll do you a fantastic deal on it for 2 million credits. For context, the prize money you earn for winning a Sunday Cup race is 1,000 credits. So let's talk monthly instalments on that Panoz, shall we? Since winning credits and spending them on ever more powerful vehicles is the beating heart of any Gran Turismo, this car feels like the final boss, a symbol of completion with a bonnet that's longer than most London flats. The moment when you realise that in order to raise those 2 million credits, you've definitely already bought and tuned a car fast enough to beat any event in the game then, is quite a sad one. Sadder even than when Oliver Twist invents the twist, and yet gets no credit for the dance he's created. Okay, cards on the table, I've not read much Dickens.
So those are some really useful items that were rendered completely not useful because they gave you them right at the end of the game. Pointless. Here's some useful advice right for the end of this YouTube video. Did you know that if on a keyboard you use the directional buttons, you can skip forward or back 5 seconds, but if you do J and L, you can skip forward or back 10 seconds. That'd be useful for you, you know, if you could have skipped through all the entries that you didn't want spoilers for, or, you know, it's all done, you know, but pointless. You've already watched it all now, haven't you? Haven't you? You better if you did and you liked it, then give us a thumbs up, subscribe. We do way more videos like this. If you want to support us even further, then we have a Patreon and you can go support us there and join our Discord, and we have a Discord where we chat about video games and lots of lovely people on there. So yeah, see you next time. Here's some more videos. Take care.